Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today's class is just a little extra immunity boost. So take a comfortable seat, please. We'll start here in Sukhasana, just simple cross-leg position. I recommend having a couple of yoga blocks for the practice today and a blanket or some alternative, right? If you don't have yoga blocks handy, you could use a couple of really firm cushions. I'll tell you a couple of modifications that you could do things with the blanket as well. And they're just going to be to support your body throughout the practice. So we come to yoga for, I don't know, probably countless different reasons, maybe stress relief, maybe increased flexibility or mobility or strength, maybe spiritual connection, maybe connection to ourselves, maybe reclaiming our bodies, maybe a little bit of all of those things. But ultimately, I think we all kind of find yoga for resilience, and not only resilience outside, but resilience inside as well. And today we're going to focus on giving our immune systems just a little boost by aiding in the flow of lymph in the body. So lymph is one of the, the liquids in our body. But unlike the other big liquid, which is the blood has a pump. It has the heart, and the heart pumps to move the blood throughout the body. Well, the lymph doesn't have any such pump. The only way the lymph moves, two ways: by moving your body, so dynamic movement, we'll be doing a bit of that today, and by going upside down. We're going to do a little bit of that as well today. So in addition to the other props, if you have wall space that you could clear up, or if not wall space, you could easily use, I don't know, the side of a couch, a refrigerator, a cupboard, a door, anything like that. Just something where you could lay in front of it and take the legs up the wall. Okay. All of that being said, starting in our comfortable seat, sit up tall, and let your eyes soften and close. We'll just take a moment to just simply sit and tune in. So as the eyes close and your awareness turns in, what do you notice? Maybe you're immediately drawn to physical sensation in the body. Maybe emotional or mental processes are calling your attention. Just tuning into anything that draws you in. Allowing this awareness to let you meet your body where it's at. Which is here and now. So always remembering as we move through our practice to use this body, this one right now that's on your mat. Can you sit up a little bit taller? Allow the shoulders to draw down, the neck to lengthen. And now please bring all of your awareness to your breath. Not changing the breath in any way at this moment, just simply notice the breath, breathing in and breathing out. Just tuning into its natural, easy rhythm. And we'll organize the breath by beginning to lengthen the exhalation. But first, let's come to an even pace breath. So wherever you are in your breath cycle, let's all exhale completely and we'll begin together. We'll inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Again, in for 4 and out for 4. Take 2 more just like that. One more. Now inhale for 4. This time as you exhale, exhale for 5. In for 4. Can you exhale to 6? In for 4. Can you exhale? Draw it out to 7. In for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. See if you can continue exhaling for about 7, maybe 8. Just allowing the exhalation to be longer than the inhale. Right now, we're about twice the length of exhale as we have length of inhale. Just continue emphasizing lengthening the exhale. Take 2 more breaths this way. Nice and easy now. Return to normal breathing. Just tuning in, maybe noticing the subtle effects of that practice. When we lengthen our exhalation, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. And it is here, when we are resting, that healing takes place. And so I invite you, anytime during our practice, you can continue to focus on the exhalation, or just simply focus on keeping a balanced breath, that's even pace breath in and out. And as well, if you wish to set any intention for your practice, take a moment, discover what that might be. Maybe today is just simply staying tuned into the breath, staying present. Or if there's something else that suits you, then let that be your intention. And let your eyes blink open, and we'll begin our practice. A little unusual. We'll come right up to stand. As you come up to stand, if you have yoga blocks, I'm going to bring my yoga blocks and place them up toward the top of my mat. And I might use those for my hands in the next posture. For this first posture, we'll take Warrior One. And we'll take Warrior One dynamically first. So let's start with Warrior One on the right. So right foot will be forward, left foot will be back. Keep some space distance between the legs, like you're standing on railroad tracks. allowing both hip points to face that short end of your mat. So if we have our legs more one in front of the other, it kind of brings our hips to a locked position and they don't always turn around. So by spacing the feet apart a little wider, it can allow both of those hips to face forward. So the back heel is grounded, back leg is really strong and powerful. This is our root, our anchor. All right. Now bend your right knee until the right knee is just over the ankle, and then adjust the distance or the length of your legs if need be. Okay, so when it's over the ankle, it's kind of aiming toward that middle toe on the front leg. All right, let's straighten the leg back up. Beautiful. Now, take an inhale, sweep the arms up overhead and bend the right knee. And then exhale, arms lower down, straighten the front leg again. Good. Inhale, rise with the arms and bend the knee. And exhale, straighten the leg, lower the arms. Good. Let's do 6 more of these. So we're kind of creating a pump with the body. Inhale, arms raise, heart lifts, spine's long. Exhale, leg straightens, arms lower back down. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Flowing with the breath. Good. 4 more. Two more. Now in this last one, we'll hold it. Arms up high. Now, if this doesn't work for your shoulders for any reason, feel free to adjust the arms. Maybe cactus arms work better, maybe palms to the heart center, maybe hands to the hips. All right, you do you. Keep the back leg strong and powerful. Keep your awareness, your attention on the breath. Four more breaths, please. If the arms are up overhead, you're reaching up through the fingertips. Arms are active, but shoulders are drawing down. Anchoring through your outer left heel. Countering any arching in the low back by engaging the abdominals. One more breath, please. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, lower the arms, straighten the front leg, and hinge forward at the hips. This is where the blocks come in nice and handy. Using the blocks or anything that you have, you could use tall water bottles, right? Or a little stack of books. Hands on the blocks on either side of the front foot. And we'll take Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose, right? So working towards straightening the front leg. It doesn't have to go completely straight. In fact, if the hamstring's really tight, feel free to put a little bend in that back or in that front knee. Lengthen the spine as you inhale, exhale, folding over that front leg. Now, even though you might be feeling a lot of stretch in the back of the front leg, draw your right hip back and continue to anchor into the pinky toe side, the outer edge of the left heel. Now, you don't have to continue with hands on the blocks. If it's more comfortable for you, feel free to take hands down to the floor. Three more breaths here. Reaching the heart forward as you lift all the way back up. And step your left foot forward. And we'll take that little mini sequence on side 2. So left foot forward, right foot back. Finding your warrior 2 stance. And so back heel is down, hips are anchored facing the front edge of your mat. And do a little test run. Bend the left knee until the knee is over the ankle. Decide if you need to adjust the length of your stance. And that knee is kind of aiming toward the middle toe, right? That's to keep the knee and the bones stacked right up there. All right, so let's straighten the front leg once more. Anchoring that back leg, keep the abdominals engaged, heart lifted. All right, so we've got about 8 times with the dynamic movement. On inhale, bend the front knee, arms raise up. Remember alternatives for the arms if this doesn't work for you. And as you exhale, arms lower, leg straightens. Good, 7 more, flow with the breath. Four more. Last 2. Last one, we hold it. So hold warrior 1. Continue to anchor into the outer right heel. Engage the abdominals, lift the heart, lift the chest. Powering up the arms. All right, so we're reaching through the fingertips, but drawing the shoulders down. Stay focused on the breath. Two more breaths, please. And then stay for one more inhale. On exhale, straighten the front knee, lower the arms, hinge forward at the hip. Left hip is drawing back as you find placement for the hands, maybe on those blocks once more, maybe on the floor, you decide. Bend the front knee as much as you need to accommodate any tightness in the back of the leg. As you inhale, find more length in the spine. As you exhale, fold over the front leg. Continuing to draw energy back into the outer right heel. And then drawing your left hip back, but your right one forward. That's a lot to think about, right? Let's take 4 more breaths here. Last 2 breaths. And then on inhale, looking forward, lift the heart, lift the chest, bring yourself upright and step the right foot forward. All right, let's take we're using the blocks, you can set them off to the side now. And take a long, wide stance on your mat. And I'll take mine lengthwise on my mat. You might enjoy doing the same. And bring your feet to be parallel. So this is a variation of triangle. Now, if we were truly doing triangle, we would turn the feet. We'd have one toe turning out, one set of toes turning back. We're going to keep the feet parallel for this, okay? So wide stance with the feet. Take your your left hand. Left hand is going to go back of the hand to the sacrum, right? So the palm is going to be facing away from you. And Right arm, raise it up alongside. Good. Take an inhale, arm raises up. As you exhale, lean to your left. So as you lean to the left now, right fingertips reach up to the sky. And bring yourself all the way back up on exhale. Good. Inhale, lean to the side, right arm reaches up. Exhale, return. Let's do 6 more of those. Keep your abdominals tight, toned, keep the legs really strong here. And of course, if there's any shoulder issues, you can feel free to do something else with this right arm and still lean to the side and up. Beautiful. Let's do 3 more. I wasn't really counting, I'll be honest, but 3 seemed like about the right amount to do. And 2. Exhale to come up. Last one. Again, you maybe even can feel how this is creating a pump in the body, like a pumping action. And then lower that arm down and we'll switch sides. So opposite hand goes back of the hand to the sacrum and the other arm reaches out to the side. As you inhale, the arm reaches up overhead as you lean to your right. And then inhale back or exhale back up. Inhale, lean. Exhale back up. 6 more. Three more. Keep those legs really strong. Last 2. Last one. And lower the arm. Release the hand from behind and hands on the hips, slight bend in the knees and fold yourself forward. Prasarita Padottanasana or wide leg forward fold. Now, if it's available to you, you release the hands from the floor and interlace the hands behind the back as you let the arms float up toward the ceiling. Now, if the hands don't comfortably interlace, you can catch wrists, forearms, elbows, even have a belt or the t-shirt, right? You could just kind of catch on to that. The idea is here just to be in a forward fold. So we're inverting upside down, reversing the flow of the lymph naturally through gravity. And as well, if you're interlacing, we're also adding some opening to the chest, which when we're working with the immune system, especially respiratory, we're going to do as much as we can to open the chest, the lungs, the heart, right? More blood flow, more airflow. Let's take 3 more breaths here. If the hands are interlaced, release them, hands return to the hips. Look forward, lead with the heart. So lengthen the spine on the way up, bend the knees, push into the feet, bring yourself all the way up slowly. Beautiful job. And just gently step the feet together. You can shake those legs out. Let's come on to our backs, please. As you lie on your back, please bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. Walk your feet so it feels like to you that they are hips distance apart and parallel. Heels are about underneath your knees. And bring your arms right alongside the body, nice and close. I always like to wiggle, kind of shimmy walk my shoulders underneath me a little. So already here, we're opening the chest. Now we'll do dynamic first, and then we'll hold in the up position. All right. So in bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, foundation is the feet, the backs of the upper arms, and the back of the head. So firmly pressing down through all of those areas and contracting the abdominals. Then you press down and lift the hips up on inhale. And on exhale, lower the hips down. Good, one more just like that. Inhale. And exhale. Good, 6 more. Four more, please. Inhaling about a 4 count to lift and exhaling about a 4 count to lower. Let's keep it nice and even. Keep that focus on the breath. Continuing to firmly press down through the backs of the upper arms. So the chest, the lungs stay really open here. Last one, we're going to hold it in the up position. Hold it up. Now, a couple of choices here with the arms. You can keep them alongside the body. Sometimes I like to take hands and grip the outer edges of the mat. It really allows me to get a little more traction and press down through the backs of the arms. If available, you could also interlace the hands underneath you and lengthen those interlaced hands towards your heels. Watch the pressure on the feet and press down a little bit more in the inner line, the inner edge of your feet, right? The big toe mound, the inner heel. That'll help your knees from like flaring open. Let's take 4 more deep breaths here. Last breath, please. If the hands are interlaced, release them. You can kind of walk those shoulders out from underneath you as you lower the hips all the way down. And just take a moment to rest. Just letting the spine retune to neutral. And draw your knees into your chest. You can rock a few times side to side. We'll be rolling over onto one side or the other. And bring yourself up onto hands and knees. So we'll be taking a dragon or a kneeling lunge. I'll be using a blanket underneath my knees because it's kind of hard underneath my yoga mat. Maybe you like that, a little extra cushion for your knees as well. And we'll do this kneeling lunge, and you can do any variation you want. We'll be here for a little while. Let's have the left knee back and the right knee forward, please. So left knee back, right knee forward. Some options. You may have your hands on either side of the front foot, resting the chest completely down on top of the right thigh. So we're probably feeling some good sensation in the front of the left hip here. Right, so ensure that the front foot is forward far enough, that the knee is over the ankle, right? And that we're starting to feel some stretch in the back leg. That doesn't mean you won't also feel it in the front leg, okay? Now, if you prefer, you could take the right foot, walk it out wider so both hands come inside the knee, either resting here on the hands, or you could come down placing forearms on blocks or forearms on the floor. Just find any variation of this kneeling lunge that you prefer. And we'll just stay here and just kind of hang out for a little bit. So no dynamic movement in this one, just resting. Resting, opening, kind of freeing up some of those tight spots in our body. Really stay tuned into the breath here, using awareness of the breath and maybe any intention that you might have set to keep you present and keep you here. Let's take 8 breaths more here. About 2 breaths more. And we'll slowly start to exit and just change sides. Slowly taking that right leg back, bringing the left one forward. And remember, any variation, and there's no rule saying you have to do the same variation on one side that you did on the first side. So make any adjustments that you need to for your body, okay? Left foot forward. Most importantly, just making sure that the foot is forward far enough so that your left knee doesn't shoot out over your toes, okay? You can have hands on either side of the front foot or take the left leg out wider so you can bring the hands in between. That's kind of what I prefer, but remember, this is your practice, so you do you. And take time to settle in here. We'll hang out for a little while. Probably they're about 2 minutes. Continuing to focus on the breath, maybe even emphasizing the exhale. Kind of like clearing out, right? We'll take 8 more deep breaths here. Last 2 breaths. And as you're ready, exiting the posture. If you used any blocks or props, you can move them out of the way. Just taking the left leg back. And a couple of choices for you. Little dynamic movement if you like. Maybe sinking the hips back toward the heels for child's pose, and then moving back to all fours a couple of times, or maybe just rolling through a couple rounds of cat and cow. If downward dog is in your practice, you could take that as well. And just stay here a couple of breaths, doing whatever it is that feels organic to you. Great. All right, we'll be using the wall or whatever substitution you have for a wall next. Remember, you don't need a lot of space, but if you could find a way to maybe just get your legs up something, they could even simply go up onto a couch or a chair would be just fine, just so the legs are up and elevated, right? Some suggestions of things that students have used in the past is the door, like the pantry door, the refrigerator, the back of the couch, right? Anything like that. The front door, right? Anything. So we'll start by just lying back and swing the legs up. As the legs go up, make that decision how close you want to be to the wall. Some of you might be able to scoot your bottom all the way up to that space where the floor and the wall meet. Some of you might need to keep a little bit farther away. All right, so whatever works for you. As the legs go up, let your arms be either extended out by the sides. Maybe you take one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Yogi's choice. Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall. Let's take 8 breaths here. And please keep your left leg extended up, bend your right knee, flexing the foot, and set your right ankle just above the left knee. Now we're upside down, so it's really below the knee, but you know what I mean, on the thigh. And we're targeting now the outer hip on the right side. If this doesn't give you enough sensation in the outer hip, then bend the left knee as much as you like to bring that right thigh, that right leg closer to your chest. Now, remember, as much as you need to adjust yourself either closer or farther away from the wall or whatever object you're up against, right? You could even have a chair right here with just placing the foot up against the seat of the chair or the seat of the couch. The idea is really just to get that hip open and have the legs inverted, the body inverted at the same time. Again, we'll take about 8 breaths or so right here. Continuing to stay focused and tuned in to the breath. Maybe still continuing to focus and emphasize the exhale. Two more breaths on this side. And then we'll slowly uncross the leg, take both legs back up or resting them on whatever device or support you have. And now we'll keep the right leg up. We'll do the same thing on the left. So bend the left knee, flexing the left foot, crossing ankle just above or below the right knee, and deciding how much stretch you want in the outer hip. If you need a little more, you bend to the right knee, taking the right foot either against that wall or against the seat of whatever you have. About 6 more deep breaths here. Two more breaths, please. And then we'll uncross, ankle from the knee, both legs back up. The last variation that we'll do with legs up is going to depend on what space you have, right? If you have a lot of space, like a wall space, then we'll just simply take dragonfly, keeping the legs long and dropping the legs out wide to whatever degree works for you. So we're getting some opening in the inner thighs and groins, maybe some hamstrings still here. If you're limited on your space, one thing, an alternate that you could do is take butterfly, soles of the feet together and just let the knees drop open wide, right? So this might be better, especially if you're using a couch or a chair. You could just rest the back of the ankles or the outer ankles or outer edges of the feet on that support. I happen to have this great wall space, so I'm going to go back to the first variation of dragonfly. So legs out wide. Whatever you've chosen, let's settle in. Six more breaths, please, right here. And then whatever you've chosen, I'll take the legs and bring them all the way back up. And then slowly, gently, carefully, just roll yourself off the wall, the door, the couch, whatever you've rolled up against. Bring yourself up to sit for just a moment. And we'll take our next supported pose. So I'll show you a couple of options here. So a lot of this will depend on what support you have. So option number one, this is my favorite, but it requires 2 blocks. So you take 1 block. Now I'm taking the 2 blocks, they're on their middle height, about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches away from one another. And then I kind of ease my way onto them. So the first block, that front edge of the block, is going to hit me right at the base of my shoulder blade. So that's about bra line area. So when you lie back, as you rest the upper body here, the shoulder blades kind of flatten out on the block. And hopefully if you have that other block placed properly, your head rests on it. Now feel free to make adjustments to the height of that block if on its middle height is too much stress on the neck. Okay. So if this works for you, if you have 2 blocks, this is the best way to go, right? Straightening the legs. So this is Matsyasana or supported fish pose. If you don't happen to have the 2 blocks, you could use a couple of couch cushions. If you have these great zafukos, you could use that. Won't be as deep of an opening, but you could rest the upper back on that. You could also take a really firm rolled up blanket or a couple of towels or even blanket wrapped around something firm and do the same thing, just resting the upper body, legs extend, arms by your side. Okay, once you get all settled in, we'll take again about 8 breaths. Now I'm going to come back to my blocks and then I'll start the count. So about 8 breaths here. Two more deep breaths, please. Now we'll bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. Roll to one elbow or the other to bring yourself up, using the arms to support, bringing yourself all the way up, just so that we can move the props out of the way and come to lying down on our backs again. As you come onto your back, we'll take supported bridge pose. Again, block is best if you have a block. If you don't, a firm cushion or a tightly rolled up blanket will work just as well. So lying down on your back, feet to the floor, feet parallel, just like we started with the dynamic movement, and just press down, lift the hips up and slide that block underneath the sacrum. Now you can start at the lowest height, make sure that the block or the support is above the tailbone, but not resting on the lumbar spine. So this support should be right under the sacrum. It should feel nice and flat right there, okay? Using any height that you prefer. And then make any adjustments you like to the arms. So we're continuing to open the chest. Maybe you take the arms out like a T, maybe make a cactus shape. Maybe you prefer to take those arms and stretch them all the way up overhead. Let's take 4 more deep breaths, please. One more deep breath. And pressing into the feet, lift the hips up off whatever support you have, slide it out, set it off to the side, lower your hips all the way back down to the floor. And then we'll take a twist from here. Please extend your left leg. Draw your right knee in towards your chest, using left hand to the outside of the right knee. Drop that right knee across the body to the left as you extend the right arm out to the right. You might even like to turn your head to look to the right. Four more breaths, please. On an inhale, slowly untwist. Extend the right leg long. Draw the left knee into your chest. Right hand to the outside of the left knee. Help guide that left knee across the body to the right as you turn head to the left, extending the left arm out to the left. 4 more breaths. And as you're ready on an inhale, we'll untwist everything, rolling back onto your back. Any other movement that you like to do before Shavasana? After a twist, I like to just take a really brief 1 breath bridge pose. You could alternatively just draw the knees into the chest and rock a bit side to side, or anything else that you prefer, okay? And as you're ready, please extend the legs out and find Shavasana, our final rest pose. Arms by the sides, turn the palms up. Eyes soften and close if they're not already. And as you tune back into the breath, come back to lengthening the exhale. So remember that little practice we did at the very beginning. We started with 4 even-paced breaths, and then the next 4 breaths, we're lengthening each exhalation until we get to that last one where the exhale is about twice as long as the inhale. So let's do that again here. First 4 breaths, just nice even-paced breath. Inhaling for about 4 counts and exhaling for 4 counts. Take 3 more like that. And now start lengthening your exhale. Just dragging that exhale out a little bit longer with each breath. Continue to emphasize the exhale. 1 more breath here. And then no longer controlling the breath, just return to normal breathing. Staying tuned in to being here and now and present. And of course, if you have time, if time allows, and you could take a longer Shavasana, then you feel free. Stay right here. Let the recording end and take as long as you wish. If you're like me, got the other things to do. We'll slowly start to bring our awareness back to the body. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes as you take a deep breath in. And then starting some bigger movements, maybe bend the knees, drawing them in, or roll to your side. Eventually, bring yourself up to sit. And as you sit tall, Eyes still closed. We'll join the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm. Bowing chin to the chest. Just taking a moment for gratitude. Gratitude to ourselves for showing up, right? For showing up for ourselves, for taking this time for ourselves. For using this time to build resilience inside and out. And thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.